Hello everybody, Texas Know-How. Hey, this is going to be a story about my latest gun and how I got it. It wasn't easy, but I want to show you. I am an NRA member and I get this magazine called American Rifleman. It's one of the choices you get when you sign up with the NRA. And on the front cover in October, it had this gun right here, an all silver looking gun called the Kimber Solo. And I thought at that point I got to get one of these. So I had a great article about it. You know, it kind of goes through, shows the kind of ammunition that it was meant to shoot, and you know, different kind of carry options and things like that. But it's basically made for the concealed carry world. And then I wanted to also show you, and then I'm going to get to the gun quick here, but in the latest NRA magazine, American Rifleman, it has another item here. See if you can see that. Right here on the bottom, it mentions that this gun got the handgun of the year. So pretty neat, part of the 2012 Golden Bullseye Awards that they give out. So that's the bitone model right there, if you can see that. But I wanted to show you, this is the way it came. A lot of Kimber guns, especially their 1911s, are from their custom shop, come in a plastic, you know, cushioned carrying case, kind of like other guns you've seen. But this just comes in a white box, and the gun is in this carry pouch. Also in there, you know, like usual, they give the gun lock. It's got Pro light sights on it, so there's their advertisement. User manual, warranty stuff. So regular things. It also comes with this, you know, in the gun to show that there's nothing chambered in it as soon as you see the gun, but I took that out. And I also want to say that I've already shot this gun. This isn't like a, you know, an initial revealing or anything like that, but I put it back in the case the same way it came, just so you can kind of see how it would come. So anyway, back in October, I went to my local gun store after seeing that article, and I said, hey, I want to order one of these. And they said, yep, you can put $100 down and we'll order it, but we don't know when you'll get it. So it did take 4.5 months to come. I just got it a couple weeks ago. So this is what it looks like. It's just laying in here in a plastic bag. Comes with one magazine, which is one of my gripes with Kimber, is you'd think, and even that article said, hey, when this comes out, you know, back in October it would come with a spare magazine, but it didn't. So it has one magazine in this little pocket. It's a single stack mag for this gun, and it holds six rounds of 9mm. So 9x19 parabellum. Love the gun. My initial take on it is smooth and it is really nice looking. It's not that big. I mean, my hand can cover it up pretty much. It weighs 17 ounces. Ambidextrous safety on it, and I'll be rolling in some close-ups of this too, so you can check this stuff out a little closer. Ambidextrous mag release on the side. Does have a 1911 type slide release and a slide lock right here on the side, and it pokes out from the other side just like a 1911. So it breaks down almost identical to a 1911, but it doesn't have the barrel bushing at the front. So basically the slide, and I'll take it apart here in a minute, comes off just like all the modern semi-automatic pistols, like a Glock or a Ruger, or, you know, a Springfield or anything. But looking around the gun, the sight is your regular 3-dot, and I'll get another zoom up of that on it, but it's 2 dots in the back, 1 on the front. They are dovetailed into the top of the gun, both front and back, and the back one does have a set screw on it, so I'm imagining that you can move it left and right for windage. And then the front one being dovetailed in is probably just the way that they mount it to the gun. So let's take a look at this. It has about a 3-inch barrel. I think it's a 2.7-inch barrel. Got some information written down over here I can read off to you from it, but real thin grips, making the side of the gun real flat. They are recessed a little bit into the aluminum frame, and this is an aluminum frame, and it's coated with Kim Pro finish. That's their anodizing. It's really smooth, and they did pretty closely match the stainless, which is part of the slide, and the barrel is all stainless. They did match the color pretty close. I mean, if you get real close to it, you can tell there's a little bit of difference in that color, but not too bad. It's kind of a grayish, a little more grayish than the stainless is more silver. So ergonomically, love the way the gun feels in my hand, and everybody who's reviewed these online says that it's just wonderful. The gun, you're gonna get 2 fingers on it, and that pinky's going to be hanging out, but you know, usually that's not a problem. And with any of these little guns, you just have to get a good grip on it. And then a 2-handed grip that you would shoot with is pretty natural. Now, the grip angle on this is the same angle off of the barrel as a 1911, so that's why this is going to come up and come to sight really quick to most people. It just lines right up when you draw. The magazine wheel has been chamfered a little bit right here, and that helps you get your mags in quick. I did go ahead and buy an extra mag whenever I picked this up, and Kimber has those available at most of the gun shops. This is they come in just a little bag, and it was $19.95. So for another 20 bucks, I just went ahead while I was there and picked up another mag. Like I said, they hold 6 each, so you got 6 plus 1. As far as what you're carrying on you, if you carry one loaded in the chamber. With the safety and the fairly long pull trigger, I feel okay carrying with it one in the chamber. The holsters that you get usually cover all the trigger. That's something else I wanted to mention is in this month's magazine, there's another page there talking about Galco has come out with a inside the waistband holster for this, and it's a black cowhide, as well as an outside the waistband strong side holster for it. Both of them are topless. They don't have a top band or a strap or anything, but when it snaps in, it's been molded to grab that trigger guard and hold it in, so that's the retention method. Okay, let's step through this. This gun obviously is a concealed carry gun. I mean, that's what this is made for. It is not made to go put thousands of rounds down range every Saturday, but you know, you do need to go shoot your concealed carry weapon often, but I just wouldn't put a lot of rounds through this one for a few reasons. One is it was specifically designed with a stiff recoil spring, and it is a compound spring. It's a spring on top of a spring, and I'll show that to you when I break it down. But that spring is recommended that you replace it every 1,000 rounds because it does take a beating and it gets compressed very hardly. And you can tell when you rack this back that is a strong spring. It's very strong. And even when coming back and trying to get that locked into place, you can see how far I'm pulling that slide back. It's a stiff pull. I mean, I'm used to it now, but when I first picked this gun up, after getting it, I was like, whoa, I was trying to snap it open and lock it just to verify it was empty, and it was a tough pull. So the strength, that's one reason I wouldn't just put millions of rounds down range on it. The other reason is it is aluminum frame, and so your slide is going to be working on that aluminum the whole time, and so you are going to get some wear over time with it. Now, it's also, the other reason I wouldn't shoot it a whole lot is because it's expensive. Because the recommended ammo for this gun is very premium ammo. I picked up, this is probably the most cost-effective ammo I could have got, and it's the Spirit Gold Dot hollow points. They're 124 grain jacketed hollow point. I've got some right here in front of the box. And this box of 50 cost me 30 bucks. So pretty expensive when you can buy about a box of 50 of just kind of inexpensive ammo like this. And I'm not sure I would pronounce this right, but it's Cellier and Below, I think. But anyway, it's a very inexpensive. I found this oftentimes for under $10 for 50, so like for $9.95. But it is this particular ammo is dirty shooting. It's pretty dirty when you shoot it, and it will get your gun completely dirty inside. You're gonna have to clean it. Lots of blow-by gunpowder type stuff that's just nasty. Now, I did shoot at the range already, but I only shot about 30 rounds through it. It was extremely windy when I went out. But I shot a couple of mags of this Federal Premium hollow point. This is actually a law enforcement ammo that I picked up at a gun show, and I really like it. It's also 124 grain. And so both the hollow point shot through it flawlessly. One round of this cheap ammunition, and this is 115 grain, which they don't recommend. They don't recommend you go below that 124 grain,
I like those a little better,
because you need some mass in that bullet. There needs to be a little bit of mass in that bullet to push against that recoil spring as it explodes and push back, so it can get that slide all the way back and eject that round, that case, that spent case. These shot through it fine, 2 magazines in like the next to last round. So on the 10th round or so, we did get a failure to extract all the way. It kind of hung, kind of stovepiped on us, didn't get all the way out. So, you know, it was just a quick re-rack, and it shot the last round. So you don't want that in a self-defense situation, but at the range, I mean, I can handle one of those every once in a while if I just wanted to shoot some cheap ammo. But that's the reason, 2 reasons I probably wouldn't shoot this as just a whole lot at the range. Now, I wanted to compare it, before I break this down, I wanted to kind of compare this gun to my Ruger LCP, which is another really favorite gun of mine. This is a great gun. I've got the Crimson Trace on it, and I'll review this in a separate review sometime, but I'm going to put these side by side, and you can see that for getting that extra horsepower in that 9mm, you're really close to the size of this little LCP, which is about the size of a Kel-Tec 380 also, or 32 ACP, but almost can't see, you know, the difference in the size of these boogers. There is probably an 1/8 inch on height here on the Solo, and maybe, you know, a 1/4 inch on the length right there difference. But I will tell you there's a difference in the trigger pull. The LCP, and I've cleared these before the movie started, y'all, so they're all clear and safe, but this thing has a long trigger pull, and you really have to get used to it. And it's a hammer fire back here, so it is a single action only, but when it's been racked, so now it's going to fire, you've got a long pull on it, and then it doesn't reset till all the way back at the beginning. So let me show you though on the Solo. So whenever I rack this one and I pull it, okay, the reset is, let me just rack it so I can show you the reset. The reset is right there, and I could pull again. Okay, that is very close to where the trigger starts anyway. So it's only about another 1/8 of an inch past the reset that you're all the way up anyway. So I like it. It pulls so nice. It's about 7 pounds advertised. I haven't measured it myself, but I really like this trigger on this. It's smooth through the complete pull, and in my opinion, much smoother than the Ruger LCP. So hats off to Kimber for that part of this gun. So as far as feel and trigger pull and just controlling the gun as it shoots, ergonomics is outstanding for this gun. Little things that, you know, to me, I'm kind of like, why did you do that? Is, you know, right here in the ejection port of the gun on the slide, there is a sharp little point, and I'll get you to zoom up with this, right here, and I just don't know why they had to do that. They did mill back the top of this, and there's a hole in the barrel, so I think you can see a chambered round that way, and that's probably the reason that they did that. And just the different things they had to do to this port ended up leaving a point right here, and I don't think it'll ever hang on anything like reholstering. Definitely wouldn't hang coming out, but it just kind of bugs me a little bit. But other than that, I mean, I'm having a nitpick to find something I don't just love about this. I mean, I don't love about this gun. Let me show you. When you put it, and that's an empty mag, it is flush on the bottom, but there's a little recess in the gun here where you can get your fingernail in there, and you could pull if you had like a jammed and you couldn't get the mag out. You could get a hold of this little tongue on there and pull it out. The last thing where I got a little bit of a hang up with this gun is, and I think on the earlier, before they recalled these once, a year or so ago, they had trouble with people when they were shooting it that it would just eject the magazine. So they were actually activating the mag release when they were just gripping the gun. And they were probably doing it with their thumb or the inside of their hand on the left hand, or if they're shooting left hand, same thing because it's ambidextrous. But well, let me tell you something now. This thing is hard to eject, and that may get better with time. It may break in, but I actually have to put my thumb on it and push with this thumb too, and pop that out. And that didn't even have bullets in it to put pressure on it. So it definitely is a booger to get that mag out. So if you're in a combat situation or protecting yourself and you're going to go to your second magazine, I'm probably instantly going to push with both thumbs, just because only shooting about 6 mags worth. That's what I'm doing to get it to eject. I mean, I'm pushing hard on that to get it to let go. So that's one of my little gripes. Again, I'll let you know as I put more rounds through this if that kind of breaks in. Many of my guns and knives and other things have broke in, and I don't complain about the same things I complain about when they're brand new. So, all right. The other thing I wanted to show you on this was the comparison to a full-size 1911, because a lot of people compare this gun and they say it's like a miniature 1911. Well, let me just show you that the 1911 is definitely bigger. That's a 5-inch full-size Kimber 1911. This one is their Super Carry Custom. It's got the fish scale stuff on it. I'll review this in another movie or another video as well, but you know, full size. But what I wanted to show you was, see that angle between the barrel and the handle? Same. And that's why that feels so natural to me to shoot that solo, is because I got a lot of rounds through this one right here. And both of them have the same aluminum, lots of neat characteristics that are the same. Aluminum frame on it, stainless slide on the barrel. So ambidextrous safety on both of them. So a lot of commonalities in it, but it is an original design. When you look inside of it, it's not put together the same way as a 1911. So they did have their own design on it, but they took what they liked about their 1911s, and they're famous for making 1911s, and they brought it into the Solo, which is just really neat in my opinion. So let's break it down real quick. Obviously, get rid of your mag, check it, make sure it's safe. It is. I usually go ahead and pull the trigger, but you'll see when you're pulling this back, there's no bushing on the barrel. So when you're pulling this back to get it in line, a lot of people do this right here where they're kind of pulling between their thumb and their finger. But what I found is I grab the end of that slide and my thumb back here and I pull it, and that's the way I get it to the right spot to pop that release lever out. And it comes out just like you would do on a 1911, and then I just let that slide forward. At this point, your slide won't come off till you pull the trigger again. So you got to release that, and then it just comes right off. So this is really light. Again, aluminum frame, just like my big 1911 from Kimber. Got the Kim Pro finish on it, and you know, the silver finish. Let me just hit on that real quick. A lot of the guys that had the bi-tone Solo are griping online because they're scratching off their Kim Pro finish, and it's light underneath. So with a dark finish, you're going to see that. This one is scratching too in a few places already, just assembling it and using it and everything, and that's going to happen. But the cool thing is with this color, you have to look to find it. So that's neat. I mean, I like it. This is the STS model, which is this silver color, and that's going to be a benefit of having this silver color, is that when it does get that little scratch or whatever from using it, you won't see it very much. Taking this apart at this point is just like a Glock or that Ruger or anything else. You pull this up and pop it back, and that is that compound spring. As you can see, you got a big spring here on the end of the plunger, and then you got a little one in here. So it's almost like a compound bow. You're getting, I guess, 2 springs working at once. To remove this barrel, you do have to slide this lug over to the 3/4 position, kind of over to the side, a little bit of angle to get it out, and then it'll come right out. And it comes out this way. It doesn't slide forward like a 1911 without its bushing in. Now that barrel is interesting looking. It's got quite a few looking grooves and flutes on it, but you know, that's the way they made it. It's pretty neat looking. And then there's your slide, you know, and of course that's stainless as well. So you can see, you know, all the working mechanisms in here. Firing pin. I already took the back off of the slide and saw how you access the firing pin. I'll do a detailed strip on this sometime and show you guys how I did that. But you know, you got lockup lugs right here and lockup lugs inside here. Some folks online have been saying that there's some peening they're seeing in here, some working of the metal between the shooting and locking up. With 6 mags through it, I'm not seeing any of that. So that's not very many rounds, 36 rounds, but you'd think you'd see a little bit of it if it was going. And then putting the spring in, it's got that coil on the end, like you would see on the other Kimber Commander or their Ultra Carry. I put that in, and I put it at the bottom of this spring well, because then it goes in at a better angle. And then I just straighten up the barrel and get that poked in there, so that you can. That compound spring is a tight one. Okay, get that back in there, get it all lined up, and then I just just start at the back again and slide her in. Now when you come back, of course you're going to want to line up your pin with that barrel lug. And then here's the key part where you don't scratch it. They've relieved this grip, the left grip on it a little bit, so you've got a little ditch in there that you can put this in when you bring it down. So line up your barrel lug, and then there's a little spring that everybody's telling you about, and I'm going to get a zoom up of this so you should be able to see it. But you've got to get this takedown lever under a little bitty leaf. I mean, it's not a leaf spring. It looks kind of like just a bent spring that's coming around out of nowhere and going back into nowhere. You've got to get this under that, because it's going to hold down pressure on this and keep it from flying up loosely underneath shooting circumstances, and it would lock your slide back. So you get this underneath that by pushing it back, and then again you're going to have to get this lined up with your assembly notch, and then you just go in just like that, and you're good to go. So very easy to put back together. Like I said, there's different characteristics that are like the 1911, but there's also characteristics that are like a lot of the other semi-autos on the market right now, like Glock and Ruger and Springfield and Colt. So I want to talk a minute about this trigger shape right here. As you pull back on that trigger, it had to be rounded on the back side so that it would press up against the back part of the frame here. Some people online are saying that how much that sticks forward, and I hope you can see that, but how much that sticks forward is too sharp on their finger. But as you bring it down into the fire position, that becomes more up and down, and it's not poking your finger so much. If they didn't do that, if they didn't have that extra part of the trigger underneath to hold on to your finger, when you got way back here, your finger would feel like it was about to fall off the bottom of that trigger. And I think that would be a worse feeling than the feeling here where you got a little bit of a point. So when you get back in the trigger where it's going to fire and you're going to get all that action of that gun, that recoil, and it would hurt, I'd rather have a longer trigger than a shorter one. So I like the trigger. It's not a problem with me at all. So if you hear that online, I think it's just taste and preference and how big your fingers are. I think my hands are pretty average for an American anyway, and it feels really good on there, so I don't have any complaints. Let's see, what else can I tell you about? Again, it's a 6+1. You're supposed to be shooting 124 grain bullets in it, or heavier. There might be heavier 9mm bullets, but let's compare those bullets to say a 45. I mean, you can see those a lot littler, and then a 380 is even littler. So that LCP that I carry around is shooting this 380 right here. Now, if you shoot this 380, you're shooting a lot less projectile and weight. It's only a 90 grain versus 124 grain. So that 34 grains extra has more knockdown kinetic energy than a 380. That's why people prefer to carry a 9mm or bigger when they're trying to stop a assailant. But in a hollow point, I mean, you're still going to hurt somebody. A 22 will kill somebody, so it's just a knockdown power. You want that kinetic energy, and then of course that big old 45 right there is hard to beat for suppressing somebody that's trying to mess with you and hurt you. So I think it's going to be a great carry gun for me. I'm probably going to carry inside the waistband, around the 4 o'clock or 5 o'clock position. be able to pull it and shoot it. I may consider those Crimson Trace grips that they've come out with as well. Just on this right side, you'd see it right here, just like you've seen the other Crimson Trace grips. And they have a wrap around to turn it on right down here with your second finger. So for a gun, it's going to shoot a bullet at about 1,000 feet per minute. You know, a 124 grain projectile. I think it's going to do the trick as far as personal protection, and it's going to be very easy to conceal. The melt job on it is just wonderful that Kimber does. It's just so smooth all over. There's no rough places on it. That ambi safety is awesome for a left-handed person. Easy to click, easy to eject the magazine well when it breaks in, but you've got your button right there, easy to handle, and you know, easy to come up and bring it to your eye. So that's it for this review. Please stay tuned. I want to try to review some of these other pistols that I showed you in detail. And until next time, Texas Know How. See ya.